New York Knicks. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 651. I didn't think we'd have a lot to talk about today, but apparently we have a lot to talk about today. So
Apparently, we have a lot to talk about today. Apparently, Jay, I'm calling it here. I'm calling it right now. By this time next year, you and I will have ended the podcast and have been to a parade celebrating a Knicks championship.
that is what we've been saying. If the Knicks win the championship, the show ends. So hopefully we'll be doing our final episode a year from now.
Yes, I am guaranteeing my golden guarantee.
Oh, God.
This team is primed. They are ready to win the whole thing. So I was thinking about. I guess there are different steps you take in the NBA.
Yeah.
I have a garbage team and I want to get respectable.
Mm-hmm.
There's that step.
Mm-hmm.
There's the respectable to now I am like a serious playoff team. There's serious playoff team to contender. And then there's contender to like winning it all.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think the harder, like if you had to rank those steps, how would you rank them?
What do you mean, how would I
Okay,
rank
before-
those?
Yeah, which is the hard, like in terms of like, what's the hardest step to take?
Oh.
Like, how would you like going from just terrible to respectable to like serious playoff team to contender? I guess where I'm going with this is I feel like the step the Knicks are trying to take is the hardest. And I guess winning the title is the hardest step. But like from contender to like serious shot at the title is a big step.
Yeah.
The Celtics, I think, are a good example of this. They were in the finals a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when did they go to the finals? They lost to, or maybe they lost to Miami, didn't get to the finals.
They got
Last
to
year
the
in
finals.
2 years.
They got to the finals once with Brown and Tatum.
They did. That was early on for them, right? With this team.
Yeah.
They got there, and then they more recently in the COVID lockdown season, they lost to Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals,
Mm-hmm.
and last year they lost to I guess Miami again in the Eastern Conference Finals, and finally they won the title, and good for them. But how did they get over the top? What did they do to get over the top?
They had an established core, and then they added key pieces around them.
Yeah.
Some of the pieces they probably like hurt a little bit to part with, like Smart.
Yeah.
But overall, it ended up being an upgrade.
Well, I was thinking about the Marcus Smart move.
Mhm.
That was a move where you're like, hey, this guy was kind of part of our core. He had won, whether maybe he deserved it or not, Defensive Player of the Year.
Mhm.
But he was like a key part of that team, and you were like, we got to make the hard move. We got to be willing to trade him to like make our roster better. I mean, the two big moves they made in the offseason, they got Porzingis, which was a huge addition alone,
Mhm.
and they got Drew Holiday, another huge addition. They really went all in on that roster.
Yeah.
And I feel like to really win the title, you kind of have to either you just have maybe get lucky with immense talent, or you really go. I mean, you have to have that anyway, but you really need to go all in with the roster. Can you think of the last few years that teams have won the title? You could say Boston went all in with that roster.
Mm-hmm.
Denver, I don't know if Denver went fully all. They went pretty all in with that roster also.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I think most teams that win the title have kind of cashed in most of their picks. They've made all the extra moves to get there. And so what do the Knicks need to do to get there? Like, Knicks are at a point where you're like, serious playoff team, borderline contender. How do we get this over the top?
I mean, I'm still of the opinion that they could have won this year if they were healthy, but they just got way deeper. They traded Bogdanovich for Bridges, and I
Huge.
don't think you can argue that that's not an upgrade.
Huge upgrade.
Yeah, so that's an upgrade. They did trade a lot of their draft picks, but they're in theory at least two. Hopefully, all of them are going to be late first rounders. Definitely next year's, unless something goes horribly wrong, it's going to be like 25 to 27 range. So
I mean, this year the Knicks have the 24th and 25th pick, and
Yeah.
we're finding out. This is draft night. We'll find out later tonight what the Knicks do with them.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Leon Rose will trade one, if not both, of the picks. Who knows?
Yeah.
But and they probably we can talk about that in a moment. What he should do. But they had a lot of draft capital. We've been talking for a long time about draft capital. You could keep picking in the late rounds and hope like you nail a pick and get a really good player and try to develop them. The Knicks are pretty close. You might need to cash in some draft capital and find someone that can help put you over the top.
I mean, a lot of the talk was a bunch of these picks and a player or two. They were able to
Yeah.
keep everybody. They got a fourth Villanova player. If they re-sign Ryan, then they'll have the Villanova Infinity Gauntlet complete. Which
I mean,
I really hope they do, actually.
But basically the Knicks they traded for Mikal Bridges. They have re-signed OG, gave him a ton of money.
Yeah.
We're still waiting to see if the Knicks will be able to bring back Ihart. And rumor now is the Knicks will not be able to, but we'll see what happens. But they've gone all in. Like, you add a player who, first of all, will he fit in with the team? Well, he played with three of these guys in college, and it's like three of his best friends. So I think we're pretty good on like culture here.
Yeah.
And you added when last season started, we were like, hey, you know what the Knicks are missing? They don't really have a number three. They don't have a small forward. They don't have a guy that can play defense, shut down the other guys' teams. They also need some more offense. We've added two of the best small forwards in basketball.
Yeah. They also have 7 legit starters on the team now. And 8 if they could somehow get Ihart back. Like,
Who's the
because
I know.
I'm guessing Dante and Hart are coming off the bench
Oh yeah,
now.
Hart, obviously.
So
Yeah.
like it's an insanely deep team, and that's without even mentioning McBride. And
Listen-
they're going to add somebody. They got to add another big man if Ihart leaves. But
This was from Knicks Muse. I just thought it was a good thing to point out. Here are the Knicks' ages: Jalen Brunson, 27; Mikal Bridges, 27; OG, 26; Randall, 29; Mitch, 26; Deuce, 23; Dante, 27; Josh Hart, 29. And they bring back Ihart. I think Ihart's like 28. The whole team is just entering their prime.
yeah, they don't have
pretty
one
nice
guy in the
core.
entire rotation that's over 30. It's not.
I mean-
this could be a multi-year run. They have everybody locked in right now, under contract. It's looking
The
good.
rumors are Brunson's going to take a huge deal this summer. They extend. They could extend Randall. There's rumors they might trade Randall. That's a whole other thing. But they have an excellent core to really make a multi, as you just said, a multi-year run at the title.
They're not going to trade Randall.
I don't think they're going to trade Randall either. I think people are crazy. They think he's going to trade Randall.
Yeah.
So what did they give up for Bridges?
They gave up Bogdanovich, 6 first-round picks, and a pick swap,
A lot of first-round picks.
and a second-round pick.
Is it 6 first-round picks? Oh, it's 4 theirs.
It's 5 first-round picks, 4 of theirs. The Milwaukee one from next year, which is top 4 protected.
It probably was not going to be an amazing pick. I mean, like, probably in the 20s.
2028 unprotected pick swap, and then two second-rounders.
Yeah, and the 2028 one only matters if the Knicks are worse than the Nets. Which
Sorry,
is
one
unlikely.
second-rounder. They swapped second-rounders, so they're trading their 2025 second, and they're getting the Nets 2026 second-rounder.
Okay. That's a lot to trade for a player. Apparently, I guess people have said that that's pretty comparable for what Minnesota traded for Gobert. What Phoenix traded for Durant. They traded a lot. Are you concerned about how much they traded?
A little. I mean, it's a lot, but like I said before, they're going to be late. At least the 25 and 27, I would expect to be very late first rounders. So when you think of it that way, it's not as bad as it sounds. The Milwaukee pick is going to be a late one. So 3 out of 5 of them, at least, maybe all 5 are going to be like late 20s. So
Right. I mean, the 2028 or 9 and 31, you don't know that far out what those are going to be like.
right, anything
But,
can happen that far out. Yeah.
Anything can happen that far out. But at some point, you have to kind of push your cards in and go like, hey, we're going for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the roster to do it. I mean, this is like, it's not like 2012, 13 where you're like, everyone's old. we got everyone in their prime. Let's see if we can figure this shit out.
Yeah, and you know what? If the Knicks win even one championship, I don't care if they don't have draft picks for the next 40 years. So
We can if they win one title, you can be in last place the rest of my life. That's
Yeah.
fine. Just,
Yeah.
I need the title. Just get me
Exactly.
a title in my lifetime. I don't care if I don't care if the Knicks we just end it as a franchise. They're like, we won the title, we're not even gonna play any more games. I'd be like, we're good, I'm happy. We're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like I just need the goddamn title.
So over the last 2 seasons, the Knicks have 3 of the top 4 guys who hit the most corner threes.
Okay. OG Bridges, I guess.
Yep.
And Brunson?
I think it was Dante.
Who's not there, okay.
Yep.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Also Bridges, so last year was a down year for him, and the Nets were a complete mess, and he shot 43% from the field. But previously, generally, he's a pretty high percentage shooter. In Phoenix, he was always shooting above 50%. When he went to Brooklyn, I guess last year, he shot like 47%, but he was shooting a ton more shots a game. He's always shooting around 37, 38% from 3. He's a solid 3-point shooter. He's a hell of a defender. Is he going to be a tips player?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
First of all, he hasn't missed a game ever.
Yeah, that's great.
He's actually played one more than the full amount of games because the season he got traded, he played 83 games.
Oh, okay.
So he's played more than the max amount of games. He's I mean, obviously he knows what he's getting into. His best friends are on the team. He was very good in Phoenix when he was the third option, which he'll be again. I just think he's not a great first option, which is why he didn't look as good in Brooklyn. But
Well, he
I
looked
expect him
good
to look.
The year before, he looked really good as the first option.
Well,
It was just-
post trade, yeah, he looked good.
Yeah.
But that was a short sample size. But last season he didn't look great. I don't think he was totally happy there. He was basically the only guy the defenses had to focus on. I think when he's Brunson and Randall getting all the attention, he's going to be back to just nailing corner threes all game.
Also, his best friends were doing a podcast about how awesome it was to be a Knick. And
Right.
God damn it!
Yeah,
They're
probably.
gonna be on the net. He even admitted on the he admitted on the podcast. I think he admitted on the podcast how he was dreaming for the Knicks to draft him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which they should have. Yeah,
Josh Hart did a little weird. I don't know if I guess players are allowed to tamper, but it was like basically like, hey, you should get traded to the Knicks.
yeah,
And he, I guess earlier this week, he went to the management and said like, I want to be traded to the Knicks, and the Nets were like, fine, we'll take an offer from the Knicks. The Knicks were like, we'll give you 1 million draft picks, and they're like, we're not doing anything anyway, George. Take your
yeah,
draft pick."
yeah. I mean, it's a little frustrating having to give up 5 first rounders for a guy that they should clearly have drafted anyway. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, if they drafted him, maybe a lot of this other stuff wouldn't have happened. So
Who the hell knows what will
Yeah.
happen? But it's nice that he's been developed elsewhere, I guess, and he looks really good. And also, this was Jay sent it to me yesterday, and I don't know who originally posted this, but Barstool Sports posted Stephen A. Smith commenting in 2016 on the Villanova Wildcats and said Villanova doesn't have a real NBA prospect on the squad. I don't know how Stephen A. I guess people like him in some. Is there one clip out there of him getting a good take?
it's amazing how consistently wrong he is. That team had 5 NBA players on it, and he said there was 0. Like, how are you that wrong?
So the one thing that concerned me last night, after the Bridge news came out, Stephen A. did a video talking about and glowing. He was a big fan of this trade, and I was like, crap, we're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was awesome. You have to go all in at times. So someone else posted on Twitter. This is from I can't read the name of the account. I apologize, but they posted the Knicks draft capital after the Bridges trade. Because I think this is interesting to know what the Knicks actually have left. So tonight they have 2 picks, or they have 3 picks tonight. They have the 2 first rounders and the second rounder tonight still.
Yeah, but the second rounder we'll find out tomorrow because remember they do 2 days now for the draft.
Yeah, and we may. I know normally we've done the shows post draft, or we'll do maybe a show on the weekend, wrapping this up. But the draft takes forever, and it's less consequential who the Knicks pick. But what do you think the Knicks are going to do tonight?
I think they're gonna package the 2 picks for maybe one that's higher.
I think that sounds right. I think that's that. And probably the rumor is iHeart might be gone. And if iHeart's not gone, the rumor's going to try to trade Mitch. I'm guessing they're going to take a center.
Yeah, maybe they try and move up and get Edie. I'm thinking either that or they're going to trade one of the firsts and the second, and maybe try and move up a little bit for that. There is one guy in the second round I would like the Knicks to draft.
Okay, who's the second round guy you want?
Cam Spencer.
Cam Spencer. Tell us who he is.
So he's a guard, good defense, good shooting. He's a little bit older. He's 24 because he had a.
I like that. I kind of like when they're a little bit older sometimes.
Yeah, he had some weird hip injury like a year or two ago, but I think that's why it took him next year to get through college. But like last year, he looked great again, so he seems to be fine.
6'3", reasonable height. Okay.
Yeah, so
like maybe a little bigger, but sure, 6'3", 200 pounds.
Yeah, I think he looks really good, especially for a second rounder. That's my pick for
really good
steal the
3-point
draft.
shooter, right?
Yeah.
Wow, 44% on 5.6 threes a game.
Yeah. So that's my pick for steal the draft, Cam Spencer.
The projection on NBA draft on NBA.com, they have the projection being Spencer possesses a similar skill set to those of Max Strus and Corey Kispert as their elite spot-up shooters who can hold their own defensively. In the NBA, Spencer's shooting ability should translate immediately, allowing him to provide spacing for second units. I like this move. This would be a great addition. I know nothing. I know very little about this draft.
He's projected to go 37th, and the Knicks pick 38th, so it could definitely happen.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Yeah. I just don't get how like his scouting has nothing bad in it, and then you'll read a scout report for like the 13th pick, and they're like, "Yeah, he's slow and he can't shoot," and I'm like, "It's like I don't know."
37th, the 38th guy in the draft, they're like, "Oh, he's pretty good." The first guy in the draft, they're like, "He's kind of garbage, but we have to draft someone first."
Right.
Oh, so the Knicks will have next year. They'll have a first round pick from Detroit, top 13 protected. A first round pick via Washington, top 10 protected. They may or may not. There's a chance neither one will convey.
They're not getting the Detroit one, maybe the Washington one.
Yeah, that doesn't sound that. Then 2026 they'll have a first round pick because you can't trade consecutive years. 2027 they'll have a second round pick. 2028 they'll have a first round pick, though Brooklyn owns the pick swap. I mean, they don't have a lot of draft picks going forward.
No, it's
really
not.
They can't do much to trade draft picks going forward. It'd be the Knicks really should, barring moving up in the draft to get like package 2 of the picks to get someone else. The Knicks should draft people tonight. They haven't drafted the last 2 years. They didn't really draft anyone. You might want some young guys on the roster to develop.
Yeah, considering they're super capped out now. So speaking of super capped out, OG, 5 years, $212.5 million, which comes out to $42.5 million per year. How do you feel about that?
So he gets $1 million per game he's going to play.
Don't say that.
The first thing was when the Knicks went all to get Bridges. I was like, oh shit, because there was rumor that said OG did not like the offer the Knicks were making.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounded like the Knicks were asking for a discount. Clearly, OG did not give a discount. And I thought maybe the sign was when the Knicks went all in to get Bridges. I was like, oh god, is OG gone?
Yeah, I mean,
a little worried about that.
I was a little worried, more for the fact that they gave up IQ and RJ, and for just a rental that's losing a lot of assets to not get him. Bridges would have made it a little easier to stomach because they still would have had a full starting lineup, but now they're like insanely deep instead of just like a nice roster.
And also like as good as Bridges is awesome on defense, OG is better on defense.
Yeah. So as long as his elbow's okay, I mean, he's had some fluky injuries. Fingers crossed. It's a big risk. I would
42 million, fingers crossed, actually.
I would rather pay him 42 than like Bradley Beal for like 53. So I mean
there are definitely bad contracts out there that you would not want to pay.
Yeah.
So, like, it's also the Knicks are built on right now with a lot of two-way players, guys that can guard multiple positions.
Yeah.
Like obviously Clearly, OG can guard multiple positions. Mikal Bridges can. Josh Hart can. Dante can. Most guys, I mean, Jalen Brunson probably can't guard too many positions. But like generally, we have a very switchable roster, which is really great for the NBA right now.
Yeah, so a lot of the rumors on the Knicks' strategy was to be a good matchup against Boston. I'm glad they're like targeting the champs and not like, let's match up well against the Pacers. So
Well, I mean, they're not this. Yeah, that'd be pretty dumb.
so
But-
they wanted people to be able to cover Tatum and Brown. So now you got OG and Bridges to cover them. The Knicks are going to be a huge pain in the ass defensively now.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks have a hell of a defense. The strategy of you're like, well, what if Boston's not the champion? Having two guys that can cover the two best players in the other team, it's a pretty good strategy against no matter who you're playing.
Yeah, yeah. My only concern now is if the Knicks don't re-sign iHeart, you're a little small against bigger teams like Philly and Milwaukee. So we got to see what we do about that.
You have to assume there's going to be another center. If
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson, who just is never healthy enough for a full season, they're not going to be like, well, we're going in there with Mitchell and
Sims.
Sims. And if they go into next season with Jericho Sims, all it would tell me is, okay, there's a trade coming because there's no way we're waiting for the playoffs to have you can't Jericho Sims be your backup center.
Yeah, I mean, he's not that great on defense, but Andre Drummond's out there.
No, I mean, that would be a terrible move. What about Valanciunas?
Is he even that good on defense? He's really good on offense. I don't know if he's that good on
He's
defense.
solid on offense. He can like just eat up rebounds. Drummond, I've seen Drummond play. I am very unimpressed with Drummond. I would not get him. I'd rather just have I'd rather have Sims out there than freaking Drummond. I'm not, or just I'm not a big fan there. Valanciunas would be a big like he's a big body also.
He is.
I guess Drummond is also. Valanciunas is better than Drummond.
I would really rather iHeart just come back.
Yes, I would. So do you? I guess I have trouble believing he's not coming back. I know they said the rumor. So the deal is that because of the way NBA salary works, the Knicks cannot pay him over $17 million a year. How much do you think he's going to get from another team?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out because there's not a ton of teams that have that much cap space. You have Philly. Now, is Philly going to pay $20 million a year for a backup center?
By the way, Nick Claxton just got 4 years, $100 million from the Nets, which is also just a good give you a barometer. I mean, maybe he'd get 100. What are the Nets doing, by the way? Why even resign Claxton if you're going all in the rebuild?
He is young.
Yeah, I guess so.
You have to have
really worth.
you have to have an NBA player on your roster. Like it's not
They
like
have
they have-
Cam Johnson. I would just say if you're going to get picks, get them all.
I don't know. People are leaving that team left and right. They're trying to get somebody to stay for more than a season.
That must be an interesting contract negotiation. Hey Nick, we're gonna offer you. Here's what you're gonna offer me because no one wants to be in your franchise. Sounds good, Nick.
Right. So I mean, they got that.
Oh, Brogdon was traded, huh?
Yeah, Brogdon was traded for Avija.
Oh, okay. I just saw it. Sorry, I'm on Real GM. I didn't. I know you mentioned that. I didn't realize Brogdon was traded for him.
Yeah, I told you Avija was traded, but I didn't say for
Avija
who.
was traded for Brogdon and the 14th overall pick. I'm surprised Avija was worth that much.
I don't know. Brogdon's very injury prone.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I'm just surprised he's worth. Yeah. You're right. Has Avija done much in the NBA at this point?
No, he's
I think
shown
young.
flashes, but not much. But he's also been on Washington, so like.
Yeah. You're right.
And then since last show, we also had Caruso getting traded for Giddey.
Apparently, the Knicks made an offer for Caruso.
Yeah.
Did you see that? They didn't say what the offer was, but they did make an offer for him. Caruso does seem like a Tibbs type player, also.
I think the Knicks were mainly trying to do deals like the Bridges deal, where it was just picks and Bogdanovich. I don't think they wanted to break up the top 7 guys on the team.
It makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I mean, chemistry is a huge part of basketball, as we've seen with teams like Phoenix, who just they have the talent, but they can't get it done. They don't have chemistry. So I love that they're keeping everybody there. And
So,
yeah,
what team? Where do you think? I guess where do you think iHeart would go? So iHeart, I guess first off, if he gets 20 million or something from somewhere else, I would think like 17 million from New York would be worth. He would stay in New York, but I kind of understand if he gets 25 million, him leaving.
yes, but again, like who's gonna do that? Like OKC can do it, but they have Chet. Are they gonna pay 25 million for like Chet's backup? Detroit can do it. At that point, like, are you like, I don't even want to play on Detroit? Like, do you want to make more money and and lose 65 games every season, or do you want to like compete for a championship? And
Well,
I don't know.
so first of all, Detroit doesn't make sense because the other guy got that guy they drafted who like they should giving major minutes to at center.
Yeah, yeah.
What's his name again from a couple years ago that you like?
Duran.
Yeah, Duran. They got Jalen Duran. So so Detroit has money. It seems like a weird deal for them to spend to spend on iHeart. Then it's OKC. OKC needs a center, but like they also have Chet there who's playing center. They're gonna move, I guess, Chet over, but Chet's gonna take some. If you want to play major minutes, Chet's gonna eat in some of your minutes. And also, you're like, do you really want to live in OKC versus New York?
Right.
Also, I guess his wife is a model, iHeart, and so does his wife want to live in OKC?
Yeah, I mean, there's that too.
Yeah, I mean, she might want $5 extra million a year. The Spurs, I guess Wembanyama is really more a power forward than a center.
Um,
Maybe you might want a big next to him.
maybe. I'm just saying that
And
like the list of teams isn't that big when you look at like need. Like Orlando's got Paolo. Like Utah is the only one I'd maybe be worried about.
Does Utah has money, but doesn't Utah have that center that blocks shots?
Yes.
What's his name?
What's his name? The
He was on
Kessler,
Wayne Kessler. Oh, no,
Walker
Wayne-
Kessler.
Walker Kessler. He's pretty good. Like
Yeah.
all the places you go, like if iHeart has to share minutes with Mitch also, so it's not like he's gonna play 40 minutes a night, but you probably like 30 minutes a night he can be guaranteed in New York.
So that's all the
team-
teams actually.
Is there anyone else that
No.
has?
There's only 6 teams with cap space, and we just named them all.
Only 6 teams have cap space.
There's 7, but Charlotte only has just under 13. Which, why would you leave 17 for 13?
Yeah, that's crazy. So I'm looking at this. So Detroit has $72 million in cap space, which is absurd. But you're right. Like, would you really want to go play in Detroit and just be a bad like? I mean, you really have to buy. Like, it's nice to get paid, but like, you do want to win games.
Yeah.
Sixers have 58 million. The Sixers are a real threat. What do you think about the Sixers?
I guess if you want to play iHeart at the 4, I mean, do you want to pay 25 million a year for Embiid's backup?
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm like, would they go Twin Towers approach? But then that really eats into like where Embiid plays on the floor.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's not a ton of teams.
The Jazz have 44 million. And you're right, they got Wayne Kessler, they got Walker Kessler, who's pretty good. They're also going to be a bad like. It's got to be value to the guy of like playing first of all on where the vibes are immaculate, and also there's got to be value to playing on a team that's going to contend for the title.
Yeah.
We might take a little bit less, though. I guess iHeart might be thinking this is going to be like I'm not guaranteed a second payday. I'm going to get a 4-year deal from a team that's going to be pretty good. The Knicks should also figure this out. The Knicks should be like, hey, we'll pay you 17 million. Wink, wink. There, you'll get to promote this Dolan brand for 8 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could figure out how to funnel extra money to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
OKC's 39 million.
Like I said,
Let's
it's not a long list. So
Spurs 34.
I know it's tough now for the Knicks, but it's not. I wouldn't say like, oh, he's definitely gone.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely entertaining offers. Okay, so then the other teams that have a spot shot, Orlando Magic have space. They have 20 million, but that means that's like the full. the Knicks can offer 17, the Magic can offer 20.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to leave New York for Orlando for a team that's, I mean, an up and coming team, but definitely a worse team? I mean, I guess he would be. I guess he really would be the center in Orlando.
I don't know. They have Wendell Carter Jr. They have Paolo. They have Wagner.
Well, Paolo's a power forward, though.
They have Wagner.
No, but they don't have a center.
They have Wagner and Wendell Carter Jr.
Is Wagner a center?
One of them.
Oh, okay, whatever. They could probably absorb him. I mean,
I'm just saying they got a lot of big guys. They
got a
also
lot
have
of big
Jonathan
guys.
Isaac.
they
Like
got Jonathan Isaac, obviously. I'm just saying, do you want to like? First, do you think if he leaves, how much do you think he gets? Like, if he leaves the Knicks, what does he turn down until he go elsewhere?
I think what you said, 25. Like I don't think he's gonna go to a worse situation for 20 when he can make 17 and a half with the Knicks.
I mean, I guess if the Pistons go, hey, we'll give you $30 million a year, you might be like, well, have fun at the Pistons.
I totally would understand that, but I wouldn't understand that from the Pistons' point of view.
It would make no sense for the Pistons. Like, oh, we're gonna bring culture and all that. Yes, but like, the thing about Iheart, he's been awesome on defense, and he definitely has some offense. He can pass the ball, but he's not like he doesn't have a 3-point shot. He doesn't have a lot of moves around the post. He's limited on offense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He doesn't seem like a guy you would give $30 million a year to, basically.
Right. So, well,
This is gonna
hopefully
really
by the
suck
time
next
we
year.
record again, the Knicks might end free agency before free agency even starts. Like if they lock in Iheart, they're pretty much done.
When is all like? Because I know all the moves happen in such a short span. When does free agency actually start?
It's July 7th or 8th. It's like it's almost like dating. It's like on the first they could talk and they can agree, but they can't sign, and then they're
But isn't everyone by the time like the moment free agency starts, half the guys are already signed?
no, I think you can agree, but I don't think you can actually sign.
No, but
it's
like all the
stupid.
guys are agreed. I meant
Yes.
all the guys are already like.
Well, we
everyone-
learned with who was it? Who was the guy in the Clippers that like agreed and then backtracked? You remember
June
that?
30th. It says, wait, all the players questionably answered, which begins June 30th.
Negotiating begins June 30th. July 6th is when they could sign.
Right, but once negotiation begins, like it's off to the races. Like everyone just starts like agreeing, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And the guys like there aren't that many really good. Like, I think Paul George is one of the leading free agents.
Yeah. Who wants
they're
50
thinking
million
that-
a
but
year at when he's about to turn 34.
Yeah, they're thinking that he'll opt in and then be traded, and then like he'll opt in, but has to be traded, which is also like an absurd thing to do. Like, hey guys, I'm gonna take the contract, but now you gotta trade me, and the team's like, are you effing kidding me? Now you have to figure out how to trade your $50 million contract.
Yeah.
There aren't really a lot. So the top free agent centers are, besides Nick Claxton, who's off the table, is Valanciunas, Andre Drummond, Precious, James Wiseman. It's not a lot.
No, there's not.
So who's the center in the draft the Knicks are potentially going to take?
I mean, other than Edie, I don't know who you would want.
Is he supposed to be that good?
He's huge.
He is huge. He is huge.
He
He's
just got
supposed to be
drafted.
slow also.
He just got drafted.
He got drafted?
Yeah, number
What pick-
9,
what pick?
Memphis.
Oh wow.
Seems a little high, but okay.
Yeah. That seems a little high.
Well, so much for that idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody that was really standing out. Like even the number 1 pick is like, he looks fine, but yeah, this is definitely not a draft where anybody's like, oh my god, look at this guy. So I think think Mark froze. That's awesome. Or is it my connection? Did Mark freeze? Or yeah, we lost Mark. Is the room still live? Can you guys still hear me? Is that a Mark thing? We have to have at least one technical difficulty every episode. That's just the way it goes. Do I still have any podcast shirts? Let me see. I am out of podcast shirts, but I appreciate you wanting one. Mark is asking if I'm there. Yeah. I am. You aren't. He's coming back on. Hang in there, folks. That's right, Big Task. Who do you guys want to see the Knicks draft? Or do you want to see the Knicks draft? Do you want them to trade the picks, or do you have anybody on your sights? For me, really, Cam Spencer's the only guy who really stood out for me. Mark's power is out, and he's waiting for a generator. He has a major storm. Interesting. Well, I'm glad he has a backup generator. He's going to use that power to do the podcast. Family be damned. Yeah, I want to see the Knicks start immediately. This is going to be such a long summer, especially if they re-sign iHeart. Like, say he agrees tomorrow. There's like nothing to look forward to for like 5 months. It's going to be a long, long off season, but an exciting one because this roster is looking awesome. So pumped. I'm pumped that they look so good. But yeah, the waiting is gonna be like summer of basketball blue balls. So the Timberwolves just traded a 2031 unprotected pick and a protected 2030 pick for Rob Dillingham, who was drafted 8th. Very exciting stuff. This draft also takes a ridiculously long time. I mean, I guess that's why they moved the second round to a second day, but like, is anybody going to tune in to the second round at like 3 in the afternoon? Seems a little pointless. Power is back on. He's waiting for the internet to come back on. Okay, so he should be on in a minute. So far, no other trades. I'm guessing there'll be 1 or 2 more. Leon Rose is probably going to trade these picks. We always get excited to see who the Knicks draft, and then the pick gets traded. All right, the router is coming back on slowly. So this is the team. The Knicks are way over the cap now. They're going to be a second apron team, which is going to make it very difficult to make any moves. But they have an entire team that's under 30, which is awesome. They're super deep, super versatile. They got defenders at every position. They got shooters at almost every position now. Center is pretty much the only position they can't shoot in. Best looking team going in, definitely since we started this podcast in 2010. Probably since at least the 90s. I mean, this team looks legit. We have any other questions? Are we unhappy about the Knicks giving up so many draft picks? It's not great, but if the team is as good as we think they're going to be, the draft picks aren't going to be that good. There he is.
Yeah, I'm back. There's a huge storm here right now.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we switch over to we have a lot of questions. Let's kind of rapid fire through the questions before the storm takes my power out again.
Sounds good.
So, yeah, how's the storm by you?
I heard rumbling, but I didn't. I mean, my back's to the window, so
It's pretty
have no
loud
idea what's
here.
going on
But I'm right by the window. I'm right by the window right here. So
gotcha.
that's part of it. Okay. Let's do some questions. Okay. Daniel writes, so many questions. I've always wanted to be a Knick. Should I apply to Villanova and enter the draft in 2030?
Yes.
Yes. Don't you think that Villanova should just offer honorary degrees to the rest of the Knicks?
That would be funny, just have an all Villanova team.
Why not? Like the Knicks are already marketing your college. Just go all in on this, or your university or whatever. Like you should really go all in on this. Should be like, hey, whoever's on the starting roster, they should be invited for this.
Yeah.
Okay. Jaime writes, do you think we make a trade tonight, and who else can we sign since we are losing Isaiah?
iHeart. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still not convinced we're losing Isaiah, but I do think the Knicks are going to make a move tonight. I think they're going to trade one of those draft picks, probably for a future. Honestly, if they keep one and trade one, is that the worst thing? Because this draft looks a little sketchy anyway.
I mean, this draft looks kind of mediocre. Bill Simmons was talking about the draft, and he was like, "Who would you trade Trey Murphy on New Orleans, right? Trey Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Would you trade him for the first pick overall?" And they were like, "No."
That's pretty.
I was
bad.
like, "This is a really bad trade."
Yeah.
They were like talking about players. They stopped it. They mentioned a couple players. Then they were like R.J. Barrett for the first pick overall, and they were like, "Okay, maybe Atlanta does not do that one." That's where they drew their line. They said the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson for the first pick overall. They're like, "I'm not sure the Knicks would do this."
That's crazy.
That it really was a. People do not think highly of this draft. But anyway, Valanciunas is the guy I target next, I guess. But you got to draft the center tonight. Frank writes, do you think the Knicks can just bring Ryan? How do you pronounce his last name? Dicano? How do you pronounce his name? I have no idea. Archie.
I love trying to listen to you pronounce people's names.
Ryan Arcidiacono.
Arcidiacono.
Whatever. Sign Kyle Lowry and trade for Cam Whitmore, and then release everyone else that hasn't played for Villanova. Seems like a sound strategy. Kyle Lowry will be a free agent. Would you give him a vet minimum deal just because he played for Villanova? He's an OG Villanova player.
I don't like him, but I would rather have him sit at the end of the bench than do his dirty tactics in the playoffs against the Knicks.
I only would sign him because we're just going all on in Villanova, and I like the strategy overall.
I also he seems to only play well against the Knicks, so it would be good to just eliminate that from the equation.
Paul writes, "Let's go," and he posts the following trade: Randall and Mitchell Robinson for Devin Booker.
Hate it.
Go. What do you say?
Hate it.
You hate it?
I hate it.
You're out of your mind. But Phoenix is not going to do this anyway. So
I'm out of my mind for wanting forwards and centers on the team.
yeah,
let's
we need. You're right. We need a power. Everyone's like, oh, we can trade. You still need height. Size still matters in the NBA. I love that we have OG. I love that we have Mikal Bridges. We still need a legit power forward.
You realize if you do Randall and Mitch for Booker and iHeart doesn't re-sign, you have no forwards and no centers. I mean, no power forwards.
You're right. That's an insanely stupid deal.
Yeah.
First of all, Mitch, if iHeart's gone, you have to retain him. The Knicks got to draft. The Knicks have to draft a center in this and develop him. Paul also writes, unfortunately, it will be next year. Book asks out, dummy. Then Nomad on writes, casual Knicks fans here. After all these picks, what's left in the Knicks war chest of assets? And is this the final missing piece? A center who could space the floor? Who would it be? So first of all, what's left in the war chest? There's not much left.
They have their even year picks.
You can't trade those if you trade the odd year picks. You can't trade consecutive picks.
Right. Well, I mean, they're still there. I mean, it's an
I mean,
asset.
it's not. I mean, but people are talking about war chest in terms of like what you could trade.
Oh.
And you have those two. You have the Washington and Detroit protected picks you can trade.
Yeah,
you
and some second rounders.
Picks this year, I guess, because they're not trading consecutive years. I think you could trade that. I think in that draft you can trade them all right after the draft. I don't know.
They would have to draft him and then trade him. And,
Yeah.
And I guess they could pick swap all the picks they have.
This is their all-in move.
Yes.
Basically,
Yeah.
there's not outside of trading Randall, which I don't think they're going to do. I really don't think they're going to do. I think this is their all-in move. This is the roster. This is the only thing left is like, do we get iHeart?
I mean, they better. I think we just lost Mark again.
Fuck.
Nope. There you're back. You paused.
I'm back. But yeah, we're gonna have some internet issues the rest of the night here.
Okay.
Let's go faster then. John writes, talk about where we will celebrate the Knicks 2025 championship. Where are we gonna celebrate, Jay?
We're gonna celebrate in Times Square.
Hell yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna follow a parade on Broadway. It's gonna be awesome.
Big men that could space the floor. There's really not any free agents out there.
This is the guy maybe there's someone in the draft. You got to find a guy in the draft.
I mean, maybe Jonas, but like, he's not even. I wouldn't say he's a floor spacer.
No, he's not a floor spacer at all. He doesn't really shoot threes.
There's really nobody.
No, there really isn't. I don't know if you necessarily need that guy either, but I mean it helped Boston having Porzingis who could space the floor, but there aren't that many guys that really could do that. Who can also protect the rim.
Yeah, Boston also had Horford who could also space the floor. So
yeah, that's nice for them.
Yeah.
They won the title. Base Nick fan writes, you think Dolan pressured them to trade all of the picks?
no, I think this was Leon's plan all along. They were amassing all these draft picks to make a big move, and this was it. This was the plan.
Leon thinks draft picks are too great of a variable. You don't know really how good the guy's going to be, and he said I think his approach here is it's great to have draft picks. It's better to have a guy who's 26 years old and we know what he is already.
Yeah.
I mean that's a fair look, and everyone's now on the same timeline. Matt writes, what should the Knicks do for the draft? What prospects fit the Knicks' current roster now? What's the lineup going to look like? What does Bridges bring to the table for the Knicks? So prospect-wise, there was one center that was projected to the Knicks. Let me find this guy. Have you looked at the mock drafts?
I have. Some of them had a center going to the Knicks. Some of them had guards going to the Knicks. It seemed like this draft is such a wild card. Even every mock draft was completely different. So
the centers that are going around where the Knicks pick, I guess, is a good thing to look at. And there's Zach Edey, but you said Zach Edey won already. Where'd he go? 9th?
He went 9th to Minnesota. No, sorry, Memphis.
I mean, there's Kel Elware from Indiana. There is Kyle Flipikowski from Duke. There's Yves Misi from Baylor. I don't know enough about these guys, really. I have not been following the prospects or college basketball that closely. Um,
Not a lot. Nothing very exciting.
there's nothing you could take a chance on. What's the guy from Golden State who's the top pick that's now in Detroit?
Weissman?
Yeah, you could take a chance on Weissman, who has not figured it out yet and probably won't figure it out. The center position is it would be great to get Ihart back, really. That's what it comes down to. This is gonna be frustrating if we don't get Ihart back. Like, the Knicks gotta be like, look what we've assembled. We're gonna win the title if you come back.
Yeah, Blind says if we draft a center, Ihart's gone. That could be a sign. Although, yeah, I mean, I would think if Ihart's coming back, they're probably drafting a power forward.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. Also, you'd want a solid back. So I don't think Precious Achiuwa is coming back. Do you think he's coming back? I just don't think the Knicks have enough money left to pay him.
Not unless he wants to come for the vet minimum.
Yeah, I think he can only come for the vet minimum, which I don't know if he's going to earn that much more, but I feel like he's probably not coming back. I guess the only way Precious, if Ihart doesn't come back, then you bring Precious back and then you draft a center. That would make some sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like with how injury prone Mitch is, you might want to draft a center with it. You have 3 picks here. Like, it seems ridiculous not to draft a center.
Yeah. A center and Cam Spencer and then whatever else.
What pick are we up to in the actual draft?
Only 11.
Okay, yeah. This is not going to... that was all... I think that's all our questions, actually.
Okay. Yeah. The 12th pick is coming in 30 seconds, which the draft has been going on for almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's not going to be another hour. We will probably do another show very soon. If NBA free agency starts on Friday, a lot will happen in the next few days, and it might be a reason to do another show very soon.
Yeah, but we're not going to stay around another hour just to find out that Rose traded those 2 picks.
I mean, Rose, he's just like, he seems like when it comes draft time, he's kind of like just an addict, being like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Like, just on the phone with everyone trying to make a move because he's got to make a move because just drafting, he is yet to draft the guy, like, just take the guys and the picks he has.
Yeah.
He always moves picks around.
Yep.
I guess Obi, he tried to move up and couldn't move up for that draft pick, but like, Knicks can get Obi. They can sign Obi. That could be our stretch center.
Can he though?
No, he can't though. Obviously.
All right, so yeah, we'll do a post draft wrap up sometime in the next few days, and hopefully we'll be talking about the Knicks re-signing Ihart, bringing the whole team back, plus Bridges, and then the long wait to actually watch this team play.
I mean, the Knicks really don't have Knicks don't have a lot to trade in terms of like salary cap, unless you want to move an actual player.
They don't have anything. If they could just re-sign Ihart and just be done with free agency before free agency even starts, I would be so happy.
And I don't know if also the way the cap works, I don't know if the Knicks don't use the Ihart money on Ihart, I don't know if they can use that on another player.
Right.
Because they're going to be already over the cap. I mean, they can play around with when guys are signed, I guess, and try to fit something in, but like, it's a tough thing to fit a free agent in.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But the Knicks are, even if they lose Ihart, they are in a better place than they were 24 hours ago. So I'm happy.
Yeah, that's not bad at least.
I feel like our big men are, it's a little thin as it is to lose Ihart, and maybe Precious too would be a pretty big blow to their big men depth. I'm
assuming because of how the cap works, the Knicks can't really do much outside of like they can give money, they can sign their own guys, but they can't get another guy outside of a vet minimum deal. So my assumption really is that if Ihart's gone, Precious is definitely staying, and they'll draft a center, and they'll try to figure out. Hopefully, the guy they draft turns out to be a pretty good center. Yeah. They're probably on the phone now, like, what the hell are you gonna do? Please tell us. We either need to draft a center or trade these picks. I mean, they're probably like, shit, we didn't scout this draft at all. This sucks. Right. We didn't think we'd have these picks. I can't believe we're going to actually draft someone. It really seems like nobody knows like anything about any of these guys. It's like probably when they were making this trade for Mikal Bridges, they're like, okay, we'll throw in this year's 2 picks, and we're like, we're not this dumb. Come on. Have you ever heard
as little about any of these about like a draft class.
I've heard they were discussing on Bill Simmons the top players. I don't even know anything about the top players. The
Like
Jacques
I don't
Carr,
follow.
we share the first pick overall.
Yeah,
Where's he from? He's from
France.
France. Sarr is from Australia. Like the first.
No, SARS from France too.
Oh, okay. They list Perth on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
I don't know,
it says
whatever.
school France, so maybe he was born in Australia and played in France. The point is, I don't follow college, and I usually know like 7 to 8 guys going into the draft, and I don't know anybody except Edie.
I knew Edie, and everyone said Edie's kind of limited. But he'd be a decent guy to have. I would take him if he was available. I would take him.
Yeah.
But it's also like people are like he's 17th, maybe a second round pick. He went 9th because people have no idea in this draft.
Right.
They said next year's draft is supposed to be a good one, but this could be. And again, like a lot of drafts have you're like I mean Jalen Brunson was a second round pick. People are like, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in a draft, but people think this is going to be one of the worst drafts in a while.
Yeah, interesting. Isn't Topic just got drafted? Didn't he like tear his ACL or something? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
I don't know enough about him. Which guy was this?
Nikola
Nikola
Topic.
Topic.
Yeah, I could be wrong on that one.
You could be right about this. I don't really know. But like, we're on pick 9 already. I mean, pick 12.
Pick 12 happened. Yeah, we're waiting on 13.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just gonna take forever. So
No, I'm not gonna wait for a week. I will text you later, Jack, to see what we think about this trade the Knicks are gonna make tonight. The Knicks are definitely gonna do some trade, right?
I would think so. I'd be surprised. I mean, it would be interesting if they actually used all 3 picks. We would have 3 players to
Wouldn't that be
look
the
into.
smart thing to do though? Like, you're not gonna like, especially if you trade away all your draft picks going forward. Like, you might want to just have some young players in this roster and just take like to see if any of these guys can develop because we were really. I mean, everyone was injured last year. It'd be nice if we had like a guy off the bench. Like, I mean, having Jacob Toppin off the bench, no offense to Toppin, or like Charlie Brown, those guys just aren't like NBA talent, really.
The only way I would do a move is if somebody wanted to swap like the 25th pick for next year first, and then I'd still draft. Thank you, Blind. Partially torn ACL for Topic, and then draft the 24th pick and the 38th pick. Like something like that, just so you stagger your rookies a little bit. Whether anybody else would even want to do that, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like you just take. I mean, these are all like a lot. I mean, these aren't the best lottery tickets, but like they're lottery tickets, and like some guys can really develop. And I know the idea, like, hey, these guys aren't going to get major minutes for Tibbs, but the guys go to summer league, they play in G League, they play practice. Like, there's a lot of places where they can develop. Like, if a guy's kicking butt in practice, Tibbs is going to find minutes for the guy.
Yeah,
And it'd be nice. Guys are going to be injured. It'd be nice to be like, hey, Joe Schmo, who drafted, who hasn't got a lick of playing time, has looked goddamn awesome in practice. We're ready to have him on the. He'll fill in when so and so is out.
as opposed to literally half the team is injured and we're still not going to play Charlie Brown because I'd rather go 4-on-5 than play him.
Yeah.
No offense
I mean,
to Charlie
like,
Brown, but like Tibbs wasn't going to play him under any circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, like if Charlie Brown, like they're like, he's like, hey, like league rules dictate you have to play me, and he'd be like, Tibbs, like, I'll take the loss.
I'll take the fine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Sorry, just, I get it. He's just like these guys, just like our filler on our bench. Like they're just there for practice, and that's pretty much it. And like, I'll play anyone who's a legitimate NBA player, but these guys aren't legitimate NBA players.
Well, that's why I'm saying get Ryan. At least he calls out 3-second violations off the bench, and
I
it's
mean,
helpful.
Ryan was supposed to be one of the better players on that team, but like he's the only one that was not an NBA player, I guess.
Yeah, I'd still rather have him on the bench.
Yeah. I mean, just for the sake of like, all his boys are on the team. You could sign. I'm sure he'll take whatever deal is offered.
Yeah. All right, so we're youtube.com/@NYKnicksPodcast, NYKnicksPodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us, NYKnicksPodcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. And we will be back, I guess, early next week for a post-draft wrap-up and maybe some free agency wrap-up, too.
Yeah. It'll be fun to talk about what happens with other teams. I think LeBron could be a free agent also. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, LeBron will be a free agent. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a bunch of moves and trades. Right now, nothing very exciting is going on, but
The Knicks may or may not have new players in their roster after tonight. We'll see.
yeah.
But this team, how are the Knicks going to use Mikal Bridges, which was asked also. I'm not sure what the starting. I guess we'll see what happens with Hart. I guess our assumption basically is center is Ihart becomes back or Mitch. Power forward, Julius. OG at the 3. Are you thinking Bridges at the 2? Or Bridges comes off the bench? I don't know.
For a starting lineup?
Yeah, how's the line? I don't know how the line and the rotation are going to work.
I don't either. I mean, Dante was so good. It would be weird to have him come off the bench after this season.
And really, Bridges. I guess Bridges is more of a 3 than a 2. I assume the idea will be OG will play 30 minutes. Like we're going to limit OG's minutes a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
He'll play 30 minutes, and the minutes will be there for Mikal Bridges. For Bridges, the minutes will be there for Josh Hart. The minutes will be there, I guess.
This is the season where everybody shuts up about Tibbs' minutes. He's going to play 8 to 9 guys, and nobody's going to play crazy minutes.
Yeah.
The team's so deep, like he's not going to just be like, oh, there's no minutes for Bridges. Like everybody's going to play like 30 minutes.
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
I can't believe how I have to wait so long to watch this team play.
I know.
I'm so annoyed now.
It's a little frustrating.
This is the team. Like, I am so pumped to watch Bridges on this team.
It's going to be such a low. What we got? It's going to be 3.5 months.
It's gonna be a little while.
Yeah.
Everyone, the Mets are playing well. Try baseball.
I still won't, but all right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back soon.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Everybody.
All right.
I think we got him before we lost power again.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And, yeah, I mean, even if they draft somebody, like...
I don't care if they don't play. I mean, you have the guy for 4 years. Like, it just makes too much sense to like not draft guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying if we, like, waited around for this pick to happen, like, I'm not going to have anything to say about the guy anyway.
Oh, it's also like too long. You're not gonna. This is the one draft where you really just don't know enough about the players.
So there's like 5 minutes between picks, which means we're still 50 minutes away from the Knicks picking.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's too long to wait. It's too long to show. We can also we could recap. We could come back and recap what happened. Like, we'll know what happened by iHeart by like Sunday, so we can always like recap on Sunday or Monday, whatever.
That's true. Yeah. Also, it'd be funny to wait 50 minutes and then the pick gets traded, and we're like, well, great.
It'll be like, okay, the Knicks have traded the 24th and 25th pick, and you're like, okay, what did they get? The 28th and 29th pick, and you're like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
And like a 2035 second rounder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Leon is trying to like see if he can convert these, like either move up in the draft, which I guess is over because is he really moving up at this point, or is he trying to like turn these picks into more picks?
Well, the 14th pick is about to happen. I say if
I just don't think the Knicks have any salary because you have to match salary in drafts in trades. The Knicks are out of salary to match without moving one of the guys that matters.
Right. Also, like, are you trading 2 picks for like the 18th pick?
Unless you're trading, I mean, you're adding picks to trade Mitch, which only makes sense if you're bringing back iHeart. I also really don't love the idea of trading Mitch, so.
I don't either. I
mean, I'd rather just roll with, if you get iHeart back, I mean, obviously if you don't get iHeart back, you have to keep Mitch, but like, if you get iHeart back, and I don't know how the salary implications of all this, but like, pay the second umbrella or do whatever. Like, go
So
on the
basically,
roster.
the second umbrella makes it insanely hard to do basically anything while you're in it. But if this is the Knicks like all in roster, they don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to just kind of go all in. You're going all. You're going to win the title. Pay the money. Like, fucking deal with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I really feel like if people are arguing like, well, I would have been happy with OG at 35, but not 42. Is it your fucking money? Do you know how much money it costs to go to these goddamn games? Pay the man.
So I'm convinced they're just making up names now. The Blazers just drafted Bub Carrington.
I don't know who any of these players. Yeah, I don't fucking know who these players are.
I was watching ESPN while I was at the gym earlier, and they had a few guys get interviewed. They had the number one pick. They had Devin Carter, one other person, but like they started off by having them like stand in front of the desk and explain their outfits. And I'm like, this is like so stupid.
That's really, really dumb.
One guy was you could tell like the difference. Like one guy was talking about like, oh, I got a Dolce and Gabbana suit and blah blah shoes, and this other guy's like, yeah, I got a button down suit with some shiny buttons. Like he had no idea like what brand he was wearing. It was like, that's my guy. Like he didn't like spend hours or weeks thinking about his outfit.
They're like, we're just killing. They're like, and they're also like, we're just killing time with this outfit conversation.
I guess like are there people there that are interested in that?
I guess so. I mean, on some level.
I'd rather hear the generic questions like what do you bring to the table and like stuff like that rather than like what are you wearing? Like what are we doing?
Okay, I want to go.
All right. I'm shutting down the room. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll be back soon.
2 shows is a lot to do, so.
It is. It's a long day. Doubleheaders aren't as great as not doubleheaders.